don't fit their work stack great, or do you need something a lot more solid than that?
You would, in reality, you try and have a review process through that year, saying, you know, I'm really happy, or I'm not happy with the way things are going. I need you to do this. These are some targets I need to set. The rules changed, as I said, in April this year, from 1 year to 2 years. So you could go 2 years.
Oh, right.
And still be able to dismiss someone because you're not happy with their work. But you would terminate them with notice. But you'd really want to make sure that they were aware that you were unhappy with their performance. And then you have a review of that performance and you say, we don't think it's working out. So we terminate with notice.
You just need to be careful to make sure there's no discrimination issues. So I've got one at the moment where the employer said to me, we want to get rid of this person, it's not working out, we put them through a performance management process, they're just not meeting the targets, can we get rid of them? So I said, well, can I see all the relevant documentation? And then when you look at the meeting notes, they've clearly outlined that they've got anxiety and they've seen their GP about stress, so you've got to be really careful to make sure there's no underlying discrimination. It could be on grounds of race, so maybe it's an American company and they don't fit in on grounds of nationalities. You just have to be careful to make sure.
Say I wasn't discriminating against them.
Yeah.
Is it quite easy for them to really look for an excuse and say, oh, you discriminated against me because of...
As long as you've properly documented a performance issue, so you can show that there's an objective non-discriminatory reason.
So that's why they're really important, those documentation.
Documentation's not exciting, doesn't add to the bottom line, but if you've got it, it stops others taking things away from your bottom line. And thank you for quite right. Discrimination doesn't have a deadline. You can have people make a claim against you for discrimination that you haven't even employed yet, because of your interview process, even because of your advert. If you're trying to attract staff, Joe Block, there was one chap, it's been stopped now, who had looked at job adverts. He was in his mid-50s. He was looking at job adverts that were looking for young, energetic, with a particular tech degree. And he would put in an employment tribunal claim again. He'd just sit in his computer, bang off the claim. He'd also be very clever and make sure that the court he was making the claim at was at least 100 miles away from the business's premises. They'd get this employment tribunal claim form in saying, you've discriminated against me, and I'm going to take, I'll put a claim in. He'd leave that a few days and then he'd phone up the company and offer to go into a conversation to make this go away. And it was documented that he was actually settling some cases for £2,000 or £3,000. Some businesses who went to the tribunal said, we're not settling. When I went to the tribunal, it got thrown out. He was found to have done this 50 times before the tribunal service clicked on and said, you ain't doing this anymore. Because this was actually his employment. He was making more money out of this than by working. And he was clearly applying for jobs he was not suitable for, would never, because the advert discriminated against him.